Howdy folks, welcome back to my World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, and it's patch 8.1 test server time. The British are here at last, and here they are. Well, straight away we're in the garage here. We're looking at the FV4202 tier 10 British medium tank. But the tech tree, there it is. It's kind of weird. The British line starts off with the tier 1 medium. Now, don't let the word medium tank fool you. This is not a medium tank. This has 6mm of armour. Medium tank, my ass. But the tech tree itself starts off with this tier 1 medium, and then you've got 3 different lines you can go down. Although one of them, the cruiser tank line, well, it's effectively just one line, but at tier 2, 3 and 4 there are two different ways you can go down. So you can go through the Cruiser Mark 1, the A10 and the Valentine to get to the Churchill, your first heavy tank. This is basically a heavy tank line, which is weird, because you can get to your heavy tank via your light tanks. So you can either go down light tanks to get to the Churchill, or you can go down medium tanks to get to the Churchill. And the medium tank line is the Mark II, the Mark III and the Matilda, and then you get the Churchill, which is interesting here. The Matilda up tier 4, whereas the Matilda that's already in the game is tier 5, premium Russian tank. Anyway, there you go. Heavy tank line, well, the Churchill to the Churchill Mark 7, the Black Prince, the Carnarvon, the Conqueror and the FV215B. Just in case any non-Brits were wondering how to pronounce this one, that's Carnarvon. It's named after a castle in Wales. The FV215B, haven't actually played it yet. Bought it, crewed it up, fitted equipment to it, haven't actually had a game. I have been playing the mediums. Oh, and yeah, this is kind of weird, because as I was saying, you can get, there's 2 different ways of going down to the heavy tanks. You can go through the medium tanks, or you can go through the light tanks. But to get to the medium tanks, you have to go through the completely different light tank line, which is just kind of bizarre, but that's the way it is. So, to get to the mediums, and this is the one I've been playing mostly, the FV4202, tier 10 medium tank, and I've had a game or 2 in the Centurion as well, and a couple of games in the Churchill, and I'm liking them. I must say I am liking them. But the FV4202 is a bloody amazingly good medium tank. It's a really good tier 10 medium. It's easily as good as any of the others. To get to it, however, you've got to go through some real stinkers. But anyway, more on that later, when I've had time to have a proper look at all of them. But for now, as a preview of the British tank line, we're going to take a look at this little beauty here, this tier 10 British medium tank, the FV4202. I'm just going to call it the 42, because I'm lazy. So the 42, what do we get? Well, we get a 2,000 hit point tank, good old chunk of health. It's a 40-ton tank, so you know it's not that heavy. It's quite light and has an 810 horsepower engine. Now, but it's not as fast as you'd expect. 40 kilometers per hour. This is definitely the slowest of the tier 10 mediums, and yet it doesn't feel slow at all when you're driving it. The acceleration is really, really good. And look at the traverse speed, 52 degrees per second. That you notice straight away when you start driving this thing. It turns on a fucking dime. It is so agile, it's just unbelievable. Armour wise is about equivalent to most of the other tier 10 mediums, 121 at the hull, 125 on the turret, nothing spectacular. But have a look at the sloping at the front. I mean, it's, you know, this is something that you're going to notice with almost all of the British tanks, with the exception of the 215B, the tier 10 heavy, which kind of looks like an AMX-50. But the rest of the British tanks are kind of boxy. But from the front, that is a really, really well sloped front hull. And it's quite a small lower glacis. We're not talking about a Tiger 2 lower plate here or anything. That is a small target to hit. The turret is 125mm thick, and it's very, very well angled. My one concern, and I haven't really had much of a chance to test it yet, is these bits at the side. These just scream out, shoot me, as well as the commander's cupola on the top. But I've only played a couple of games, so I haven't really been able to test for weak spots or anything. so, this is very much a preview, not a review. The stats of these tanks can and probably will change before they go live, so take this with a pinch of salt. I'm just giving you a quick look at what to expect. Side armour of the hull is it's positively American. It's 51mm thick at the side, 32 at the rear, and the turret's a lot better. It's 125 at the front, 120 at the side, but only 35 at the rear. This is very much an assault tank, right? Front towards enemy at all times. Sides are very, very thin, particularly on the hull. Angling the armour of this thing is important, because angling the armour of tanks of any tank is important. But with side armour that thin, you don't want to be angling more than 30 degrees. More than 30 degrees, and your side armour is just going to get overmatched by the calibre of guns that are shooting back at you, and they'll penetrate you regardless of the angle. So that, take that with a pinch of salt. Now, I want to call it the turret ring, and I suppose it is the turret ring. This looks like a bit of a weakness, but again, I haven't done any tests. It's just look at the size of that turret ring. I'm imagining that is going to be a significant weakness on this tank. You're going to get your turret ring jammed a lot by shots to the front, or shots to the side, or shots to the rear. That looks like just such an inviting target, even from the front. I mean, if you were shooting at this thing from the front, you had a choice of that small lower plate or this very, very bouncy upper plate, or that 125mm rounded, sloped and angled turret, or that. Well, yeah, let's shoot at this. And that's going to give you problems in this thing. And come to think of it, I have actually had my turret ring jammed in. I've only played 3 or 4 games in this thing, but in one of them I definitely got my turret ring jammed, so I suspect that's going to be a significant weakness on this tank. However, there you go. Could be worse. At least it's not a weak ammo rack. Speaking of the turret turns very quickly as well, 42 degrees per second. There are light tanks that don't turn as fast as this thing's turret does. Excellent view range too, 420 meters, and typical tier 10 type 750 meter signal range. Now, the gun, the L7A1, 105mm Royal Ordnance L7A1. This is a sweet gun. The rate of fire is it's all right. It feels fast loading. It's not particularly quick, 6.8, nearly 7 rounds per minute. In fact, I believe the FV4202 actually fires faster than that. Yeah, there you go. The heavy tank actually fires faster than the medium tank does. More on that when we come back to the heavy tank in future videos. But it doesn't feel like it shoots slowly. However, and this is something that you're going to notice on the higher tier British tanks. Look at the accuracy, 0.32, and look at the aiming time. Oh man, 1.9 second aiming time and 0.32 accuracy. Holy shit, this thing is accurate and it aims fast. And the penetration and damage isn't terrible either. 268mm of penetration, and 390 damage, same as most of the other tier 10 medium tanks. So it's a good gun. It's very, very agile. It's not as fast as the other tier 10 medium tanks, but it doesn't feel slow at all. 40km/h top speed is, it's not bad. It's definitely slower than, it's slower than an IS-7. But 40 kph, I don't know, there's just something about the way this tank moves that it just feels quick, even though it quite, demonstrably isn't. 40km/h is the top speed, but it accelerates so fast. It's a lot of fun to play. Sides and rear, paper thin, meaty gun, decent armour at the front, very agile, amazing view range, deadly accurate, very fast to aim. And with a tank, an aiming time and an accuracy like that, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you need to fit a vertical stabiliser for accuracy during movement and turret rotation. It kind of feels initially, and I realise things can change, that this thing has basically bumped the M48A1 off the accuracy on the move platform. And I almost wonder if the nerfs that hit the Pattern 3 in the previous patch were designed to pave the way for this thing. I don't know, possibly, but this thing, wow. I mean, 0.32 accuracy and a 1.9 second aiming time, and the size of the aiming circle is minuscule. It's just, yeah. Vertical stabilizer, keep this thing moving, pump the shots out, and I think it's going to do very, very well. And I've also fitted a medium caliber tank gun rammer and improved vents, because it just seems like it makes sense. Cruise skills, because it's got that 420 meter view range, again, I mean, it's got the same view range as the Patton 3, which has the best view range in the game. So it just seemed to make sense to give the commander, recon, to increase the maximum view range. Going with that whole firing on the move thing again, I've given the gunner snapshot, improved accuracy during turret rotation. The driver, guess what? Smoother ride, improves accuracy when firing on the move. And the loader, who is interestingly, the loader is also the radio operator, which is kind of interesting. So I have given the loader, finally, a decent skill for the loader to have, believe it or not, situation awareness, increased view range. Because I think this thing is going to be the new Clan War scouting tank. If only it was a bit faster. I know that people like to use bat chats as scouts in Clan Wars, but this thing's got the view range, and with the loader being able to have radio operator skills as well, if this thing was just a little bit faster, I don't know. I think we may see people using this as a scout in Clan Wars. We'll have to see how that develops, but the potential is certainly there. It's just not quite fast enough. But anyway, yeah, I've waffled on far too long about this thing. You want to see how this thing plays. Oh, believe me, it's good. So here it is. The first time I've ever played this tank. And I didn't even look at the stats of the thing. I didn't look at the armour, I didn't see where the weak armour was, I didn't look at how much penetration or accuracy the gun had. I just literally just bought the thing, stuck the crew in it, pressed the battle button. So don't expect great things of me in this game. I didn't even know that the side armour is the thickness and consistency of wrapping paper. I just literally just put the crew in, pressed the battle button, and ended up in an encounter battle on Sand River. And, you know, test server, everybody's tier 10. There's a couple of very unfortunate. There we go, over there there's a tier 8 Carnarvon heavy tank. One tier 9 Centurion Mark 7. And we have a scout. And other than that, and the artillery, everybody's tier 10. And look at how quick this thing, I mean, this is what I'm talking about. It only does 40 kilometers per hour, but the power to weight ratio is so good, it doesn't slow down going to pills. And look at how fast it turns. Holy cow. What's the aiming time on this gun? Even though I'm not going to actually hit anything with it, but look at the size of the aiming reticle. Yeah, that was a bit crap. I am not the world's greatest shot. But we've been in this position before, haven't we, boys and girls? Sitting on the ridgeline in an encounter battle in my Jagdpanther. Somebody's going to have to go down and defend the cap. And it's going to fall to the 3 tier 10 mediums. Unfortunately, we are going to be pretty heavily outnumbered down there. I can't remember the result of this game. I think we lost it, but yeah, not important. As I said, my first game. Now, they've got a 215B in there. That's the new British tier 10 heavy tank. The L1A1 gun. He is a dangerous machine from the front. So we've got to get in here and prevent this cap. Oh, there he is. He's a big bugger. I'll put one in him, and he puts one in me. Right through the allegedly bouncy upper glacis, but we are talking about tier 10 tank, heavy tank guns here. And again, you know, oh, there's the Tier 8 heavy. You know, we're talking test server rules here. It's entirely possible he's putting gold into me. And that's the only frustrating thing about the test server. You can never really judge how a tank performs in the real game, because people could be firing gold at you. And that's one of the other things about this version of the test server. You can now buy gold ammo with credits, so, and they give you 100 million credits, so why not use gold? And I'm trying to get out of cover, but they blow my tracks off and spin me, so my paper thin armour, side armour is pointing straight at them. And yeah, here we go. So my first game, not fantastic, but you know, I got a feel for how the thing plays, and I was very impressed with it, even though I was, you know, not that good. I was very impressed with the way it handled. That's what I'm talking about. The speed doesn't. It only does 40 kilometers per hour, but it does not feel like a slow medium tank. It feels a lot faster than it is, and that's because of the acceleration and the speed that it turns. So my next game was a bit better. So this was my second game in the 4202, and it's an encounter battle on steps. And again, it's pretty much the same matchmaker. There's a very unfortunate looking SU-101. How the hell did he get into this game? What's an SU-101 going to do in a game with... Oh, I don't know. Anyway. Yeah, and 2 Tier 7 arty, 2 a GW Tiger on each team. Apart from that, it's just Tier 10 Central. So, speed things up a little until things kick off. And again, most impressed with the speed and the maneuverability of this thing, even though it isn't actually that fast. Damn, it's a good looking tank. Just not sure about those ears on the side. I suspect they could be a significant weakness. I hope not, but you never know. But they probably are. I don't think we're going to be quite lucky enough for those to be no hit boxes like the ears on the T29. But we shall see. I'll have to boot up a training room, do some tests. But anyway, here we are. Steps, counter battle. Not spotted anyone yet, but I'm pretty sure we will. Okay, so I'm going to wait for a bit of backup, and I'm just going to spot on this corner, see what we can see. Oh, hello. Ooh, 2 of them. Unbelievable. A bounce. Clear shot at the side, 50mm of armour, and it bounces off. Alright, keep an eye on what that guy's doing before I pop out and help kill this guy. Hello, he's backing up. Go on, back up a little more. Go on, back up a little more. Go on, that's it. T125 over there. Oh, let's go and add to his problems. I'm not going to sit here and cap. I'm going to sweep around and try and take all those guys over by our deployment zone from the rear. Oh, side of the turret. Yeah, that'll do. Not quite enough to kill him. Okay, 4 heavies and a tank destroyer out of the cap. I figure myself I can go chasing after that M48 and sweep around behind the enemy team. Game's quite evenly matched at this stage. We're losing 6-7, but we're in the cap. And you'd think that all of those guys, with us providing flanking fire, could look after themselves, but, well, no, of course not. God, this is such an accurate, fast aiming gun. Oh, he's pointing his gun at me, and he's hit me, but we've set him on fire, which is nice. We took a bounce there. Bounced off the turret ring, check that out. Oh, and there goes the T110E5, which means all of those guys are going to be shooting at me next. Come on, I need to finish this guy off. Oh, and wouldn't you know it? And now he's disappeared. Okay, so plenty of targets up here. Oh yeah. Don't you just love it when you're looking at the front of a heavy tank, and just as you load, he turns his side to you. Another bounce there, and it looks like it was from that 215B. Look at this, it's just I just cannot load fast enough or fire fast enough to, and we're getting rolled over here. And those simps over by the cap, even with a T110E5, an M48, and me giving flank fire, just, yeah, random teams, they're random. Can I at least kill one? Oh, right, now they've all spotted me. There's only 2 of us left, and they're all lining up to take shots at me. And come on, let me at least kill that 215B. Oh, great. Just as I'm about to put the kill and blow in, they damage my gun. Yeah, I'm screwed. I'm the only one left alive at this point. And the next shot's going to kill me. Yeah. So, yeah, mostly useless team. Turns out that all of our decent players were the ones who were killed over here, and the guys that came with me for the flag were the simps. But you know what you're going to do. Random teams are random, and I actually damaged 9 tanks in that game, and only managed to kill 1. But you know, still good tank. I do like this thing. It took me a few games to actually get a win in it, but that's not the fault of the tank. It's the fault of me or the teams I was playing with. I mean, I've only played 3 games in the thing. I'm by far far from being an expert on driving it, but it's a fun machine to drive. And the next game I played in it saw a welcome return to a map that's been out of the game for a while. So, believe it or not, in that previous game we actually did 5,700 damage to the various different enemy tanks, which is pretty good. What's not pretty good is that we did it to 9 different enemy tanks. Instead of concentrating fire on, you know, on a couple of them and killing them, but you know, we could only shoot what was available to be shot at. But here we go, Dragon's Ridge. This map was actually taken out of the game. It was introduced in patch 7.3. Taken out of the game because it was causing people were having problems going into sniper mode, getting a red screen, and then having the red screen persist, and they would have to restart the game to fix it. I never had that problem, but the map was taken out of the rotation, and then they've redone it with physics, and it's back in. And physics is going to bite me in the arse here, because ordinarily this is what I would used to do on Dragon's Ridge when I started on this side. I would scoot up this hill and then head along the ridge to get to the other side of the map, but look at this. And my tracks are spinning and I'm sliding backwards down the hill. This never happened on the old version of the Dragon's Ridge map, I can tell you that for nothing. I do like this map though, it's very pretty. And I'm having serious problems trying to get up this bloody hill. third time lucky. So while I'm derping around here, the fight is actually starting to develop. I finally find a route up. And look at how quickly this thing, I mean I'm doing nearly 20 kilometers per hour going up the hill when I actually find the right route. Superb power to weight ratio on this tank. Yeah, that was a crap shot. As was that. Oh, tier 10. And he doesn't miss. But look how quickly this thing reverses. We're doing 21 kilometers an hour going backwards. There are tanks in the game that can't go that fast going forwards. So I'm waiting for this fella to pop up. And yeah, he took a big old hit there. That must have been the I'm not sure what. Probably the E100. Come on, mate. Either shit or get off the pot. Up or down, make your mind up. Okay, there's an E100 and a Jagdpanzer E100 coming towards him, so I think he's probably going to go for down. And what he actually does is he dives into the valley. Watch this. Oh, there's that T62 again. And there he goes. Now, again, this is something you couldn't even get down this part of the map previously on Dragon's Ridge. So I'll have to investigate that further at some point. That part of the map, well, I think, was just a no-go zone. You just couldn't get down there. Oh, Jagdpanzer E100 without any friends. We'll have you. And just as I'm about to shoot, I hit a bump in the ground. Gun barrel goes flying. How did these guys get behind us? Okay. I'm going to hide behind this Jagdpanzer. That T110E4 should really be thinking about turning around. There's that Tier 10 heavy. Looks like we've tracked him. Or somebody has. And that Jagdpanzer E100, unfortunately, it didn't do him any good. It does the right thing there. He backed up to lower the front of his tank and cover up his lower plate, but they killed him anyway. And we've taken a couple of bounces here. I think we've taken 2 penetrating hits. Yes, got the tier 10. Okay, well, that Pan 3 is going to get outflanked, so let's get our asses up there. And this is what I'm talking about, again, about this is not a slow tank at all. It doesn't have the top speed, but most of the other tier 10 mediums would still be trying to catch up at this point. They would overtake you on the long haul, but there's that firing on the move. Yeah, most of the other tier 10s, well, all of the other tier 10 mediums would definitely overtake you on a long haul race. But from a standing start, this thing would beat them. No problem. It just accelerates so quickly. And there's only 2 of them left, and we know that they're both down here in the rice paddy terraces. There's the T110E4. Now what I'm thinking is, well, he's on low health, I can come around here, get a shot into him, but I haven't spotted this fella up here. I could take 1 hit and then kill him, but there's no way I'm taking 2. So that was the end of my little Dragon's Ridge adventure. But I have to say, even though I'm pretty bad at driving it, I have fun playing this tank. It's got a lot of potential. It's probably going to get nerfed, I think, before it goes live. Although I don't see that it needs to, because it's a dangerous tank. But as you can see, it's not difficult to kill the thing. From the sides and rear, it's probably the weakest of the tier 10. Well, not counting the Batchat, of course. I've seen Churchills kill Batchats, but from the sides and rear, it's definitely got the weakest armour. It doesn't really appear to need a nerf, although looking at what happened to the Pattern 3 with the gun on that thing, it wouldn't surprise me if the gun, that aiming time, that accuracy, if that got hit a little. But that seems to be the thing of the British tanks. Strongly armoured from the front, manoeuvrable, good guns, very, very easy to kill from the sides and rear. More so than any of the other nationalities, other than the French, obviously. I mean, the French are easy to kill from any angle. But that seems to be the British thing, and it's certainly the case with this thing. And I've been having a lot of fun driving it, and I'm probably going to have a lot more fun driving it, and another massive grind before I get one on the live server. But, you know, I have to add it to my medium tank collection. So anyway, that was your first look, from me anyway, at the patch 8.1 test server and the British tanks. And I'll be doing previews of as many of the British tanks as I can over the course of the time that the test server is up. So, you know, stay tuned, and we'll see what we get up tonight. Take care on the battlefield. I'll catch you next time.